Alright, what's up guys, what's going on? So today we're going to be working on the SC again, but we're not really going to be doing much to the SC. We're actually going to be trying to fill the high beam holes in this front bumper that I have over here. So if you guys watched probably about a year ago this time, maybe a little bit earlier in the winter time, the Impreza that I used to drift, I had a fuel cell in the back of the Impreza that wasn't using the factory like gas lid area, and since that had the over fenders on, basically pretty much like this one where it has the opening, we ended up basically shaving that. So we covered it all up when we shaved it, so then there was no more like gas lid area, so it was nice and clean, nice and smooth. Well, with these SCs, they obviously have a separated high beam from the regular headlight, and me personally, I don't like the way that looks. I would rather just have a single headlight with no high beam. So right now in the front, I already took the high beams out. The high beams like bolted right in this area here. I already took those out on both sides, and now it's just the regular low beams like with the headlights. So what I want to do is I want to do the same thing that we did with the Impreza to this front bumper. So I want to shave these headlight area, these high beam areas, so then you don't even see them anymore. So once we paint this bumper, you won't even be able to tell that there were high beams in that spot. So now it'll just look like a regular bumper with just the headlights. And also, since that this is going to be mostly a drift car with a little bit of street driving, I'm probably not going to really be driving this thing in the nighttime, and plus I don't usually ever really use high beams in any of my cars, so the low beams will still be functional, but just high beams, I just won't have them, obviously, because they're not going to be on the car, which isn't a big deal for me. Like I said, I barely use high beams anyway, so it won't really matter to me. And now also, I've done a little bit more work to the SC, not on camera, because the last time I was here, I actually forgot the camera at home, but I'm going to try and start filming pretty much everything that I do on the SC, even if it's not really like big things that I do, just like every little thing here and there. I'm going to try and have the camera with me to film, just so I could post some more content on the YouTube channel, because I've kind of been slacking on that recently. But let me just run through you what I've done in the past couple of days, and then we'll get started on that front bumper. So since the last time that you guys saw this car, which was maybe a week or two ago when I posted the last video, we got the side skirts mounted up. The front bumper was just mocked on, which I have it off now, and I had the quarter panels on to make sure the side skirts lined up with everything. But since then, we removed the side skirts, got the quarter panels back off, so then I was able to power wash, like basically just like scuff up and power wash the whole like inner quarter area. So now it's all gloss gray instead of just like the, I don't know, whatever primer coating they put on it from the factory. And then the whole interior of the trunk, we power washed, well, like we scuffed up and power washed, and then we painted this whole inside too. So now all of it's perfectly clean. Same with out here where like the tail lights and the bumper go. All that is now gray as well. Mostly I wanted to do it because of all the cuts that I made. I taped everything off, and I just primered it and then painted it all just so it was sealed, so there's no rust. And when I was doing that, I was like, you know what, I might as well just do the rest of the like back of the car just to make it all clean, kind of just like a clean slate of everything. Just nobody will ever notice it because all the panels will be on, but it's just one of those things that I know that I went in there, I cleaned it up, so it was 100% clean, 100% new and fresh, and now we could just build on top of that. And then one other thing that we did, that we did the other day, we made this rear crash bar. So it was my first time using a tube notcher, first time using a tube bender, and I think it came out really well. I'm actually really happy with how it came out. I just went to a local just like steel place, and I bought, a couple, I forget how many feet, maybe like 15 feet or so of just some like used steel that they had, and we used our pipe bender, which is right here. Just a nice Harbor Freight one. It actually worked really well. So I was actually happy with how that came out, and the tube notcher is over there on the bench. But it came out really well. Welding at first, I needed to figure out the right settings for it to make it come out and make it like actually like stick really good. But it holds weight. It held our weight like standing on it, and then I also used the center jacking point and jacked the car up, and no noises, no cracking, no braking happened. And while it was up on the jack, we actually stood on it and jumped a little bit to make sure there was no movement, and there's no movement at all. So it should be 100% safe to use while we're at like the track to swap the rear tires. And so now for the next challenge is going to be making a front bar. So it's basically going to mimic exactly what the back is. It's just going to have the straight piece with like like an angle on either side. But what's going to be more complicated is that I want to do basically like a dual bar. So I want one bar, in line with that, with like the frame rail, and then I want another bar below it to kind of act as like a lower impact in case we go off course and like bottom out or hit some cones, because there's going to be probably a ton of that because I'm still new to drifting. Anything like that, we want to just protect everything underneath, and obviously front impact as well. So I'm gonna have to make 2 bars that are identical, and then obviously the center section pieces that are going to need to be the same length, the same notching, everything like that. So the rear one was a good practice. The real test will be the front one. And then also I think what I want to try and do today, once we get started on shaving those high beam areas, I want to try and start building the upper mounts for the quick releases that I have. So this is the quick release that I've got. I tried to explain in one of the previous episodes, but I didn't have one to actually show you because they were still shipping out. But I have these on the BRZ's rear bumper. So basically all you got to do is just push this button and it comes out of this threaded piece, which obviously this threaded piece will attach to the body somewhere, and then this piece, the black section, gets bolted into the bumper itself. So when we go to push the bumper on, all we got to do is just push, like basically attach these clips into here, and then it stays on until obviously we push the button and it'll come right off. So I want to build some type of bracket system to go from like this area, and then same obviously on that, mimic on the other side. And then we're going to have 2 of these on either side be built into the bash bar. So it'll be probably about right here, and then one down here. And then we'll have these obviously attached to the bumper, the threaded rod piece bolt to the bash bar. So then that also will just slide right on and we'll have no problems. Just so when the front bumper is only held on by these, so in case we have to take it off, like get onto a trailer or anything like that, it'll just be 6 of these and the bumper will come right off. So now we could get started on this front bumper. I'm gonna find a way to get this thing up, and then we could start doing it. I'll just, for all the new subscribers and new viewers, I'll run through how we're gonna go to try and shave these, just like we did on the Impreza quarter panel. But if you want to check out that video too, I'll put a link up there just to link that one, and we'll get started. So let me just find a way to get this up out of the, up off the ground, and we'll get started. All right, so I just got it up. Luckily Matt had some sawhorses here, so I'm able to use those. So now I have both of these open on either side, so there's nothing blocking them. So now what I'm gonna do is flip it back over first, and I'm gonna layer the opposite side of this with some painter's tape, just to hold the shape of it, basically. So what we're gonna end up doing is basically use the tape to block this off, and then we have fiberglass that I just bought at Home Depot over there, and we're gonna fiberglass the inside of this, basically to cover it up, and we're gonna layer it on the outside of this, so it obviously holds on to the inside of this bumper. Once that hardens and dries, then we flip it back over, and whatever low spots we have, we just use some like body filler and just make sure it's all flush, all smooth, and we'll spray some primer over it, and we'll sand that, make sure everything's just 100% smooth, 100% shaved, and then we'll basically be done. It's as easy as that. If you know how to do fiberglass work, it's a fairly easy job. The quarter panel was a little bit easier, and I'll show you why once I drop this bumper on the ground. So this bumper this high beam recesses in towards the bottom a little bit, so it might be a little difficult to get the actual shape of this, but I was also toying with the idea of taping it from the inside and doing it towards the outside, but then I'd be having to grab around the headlight, the high beam area around here, and once we sand it down, it's not going to sit flush, so we're going to have to do it from the inside no matter what. So it might just require a little bit more Bondo when it comes down to it, but we're gonna do it from the inside, and we're gonna see how it comes out. I just taped the opposite side up. So now I just obviously flipped the bumper back over. So now that's what it looks like. So that gives us just a flat, basically, template pretty much of just where now we can put the fiberglass in. So it's like I was saying that the headlight, well, the high beam area has curves to it. This area in here is actually a gap, and like it goes all the way around because obviously like the bumper wants to recess down into where the high beam would be. So we're gonna have to try and get resin and fiberglass down into that area, which the Impreza gas lid area was pretty much this, like a little bit different than that, but pretty much had the same issue with that. And we were able to get mostly the fiberglass down into there. And where we couldn't get the fiberglass, we were able to use the body filler afterwards and get those areas filled in. So that's another good example right there of just like the recess, like gap that we have that goes all the way around. So now we can, hopefully I have a mixing cup here to put the resin in, and then we can get started. Alright, so I've got all my fiberglass mat all cut up into just small little rectangles and squares. So then when we start putting the resin on, we could start just, laying these into place. Then I've got a little paintbrush just to tuck it down into these areas to try and get it to go into those recessed areas. So now we just got to start. I got to mix some resin up, and we'll start time-lapsing the application. So I just time-lapsed doing what would be the driver's side one. Just off camera, I just finished up doing this one. Now you can see as an outer layer, I just had some spare like carbon fiber weave laying around, so I decided to just just cover the outside of it with carbon fiber. Not really that it's going to do much, but it's kind of just like, I don't know. I had it laying around, so I figured I'd just use it. So now, as you can see from the opposite side, it's still just all taped off. Same on this side. So now we just have to wait for that stuff to harden, and then we can go take the tape off and see how flat or how flush it actually is. I have a feeling with how it's curved and stuff, we're going to need to do some sanding and some body filling on them. But now we just wait. Alright, so now while we wait for this to harden and everything, I'm going to throw the rear end back together on this thing. Well, it should be for the last time until we go to paint this, only because I took it all back apart because I wanted to paint all of this. So now I can throw the taillights back in, the quarter panels on, the rear bumper, and it'll stay like that until we go to paint this. So I'm just going to start throwing stuff on. Alright, here we go. So I got the entire rear end back together. Both of the quarters are on, taillights are in, and the rear bumper is now back on just for now. I still want to get a new rear bumper. I'll get that before we paint this. But then this is the what's sticking out for the center jacking point. So I wish I made it a little bit lower, but that'll work for now until I make a version 2 of the bash bar. But it looks good. We had a problem with getting the taillights to work, and it ended up being the taillight failure, like switch being internally broken or something, so we just bypassed that. So now the taillights work and all the other lights work. So now I'm going to leave the side skirts off just in case if we have to get the car onto the lift, but basically when we go to paint it, the side skirts are going to have to come off anyway, so I'll just leave those off until it's all set. And besides that, the whole rear end is done. And now the high beam delete, it actually started hardening a lot quicker than I thought it would. So it's pretty much rock solid right now. So I peeled all the tape off of both of them, and that's what it's going to end up looking like right now. So see, like these areas right here, I didn't really get the fiberglass in enough, but once I sand it down a little bit and put the body filler in there, it'll be fine. Same with this one, I was able to get it mostly all around, but there's still like a couple areas around the top and bottom that I wasn't able to get it to completely go in. So it's still a little tacky, so I'm not going to start doing anything yet, but that's pretty much what it's going to look like once you take the tape off. So you can see like right here there's a couple ridges and stuff, so we're going to have to just use the body filler to get those out. But for the most part, it came out really good. And now I just flipped it over just so you could see the inside portion. So all of it's rock hard. The carbon fiber is all dry, everything's dry. So this is how the inside will look. Not that you're going to be able to see it from when it's on the car anyway. But that's just what it'll stay looking like. So it came out good. I just got to wait for it to finish. See, it's still a little tacky on the edges. Just got to finish that. Well, finish letting it cure, and then start putting the body filler on. Alright, so Matt and I just went to go get food, and the fiberglass is pretty much all the way hardened now. So next time I'm here, we'll start doing the body filler on it. I'm just going to let it harden just a little bit more, and plus it's like 10 o'clock right now, so I'm not really going to go any farther. When I was letting that dry, well, harden more, I actually built the front bumpers quick release clips. Like, you know how I said that I was going to put them like right here on either side? I needed a way to be able to mount, you know, the rod portion of that clip. So what I ended up doing is that I bought some like small, like I think it was a 1/4 inch metal rod from the Logan Steel when I went to go get that piping, and I just quickly made this, which I'm actually pretty happy with how it came out for just making it in probably about 30 minutes. But what I ended up doing is I just bent a rod basically up and then onto the it's not even the radiator support, it's like the high beam / headlight support piece. So I bent it, came up and around, then mimicked it on this side, and then at first I just tacked it in just to make sure to get like the angle right, because the bumper comes in like real flat, like right here, like it angles in like pretty aggressively right here. And then I ended up just making small little rods to go up to it so that it holds like its strength. And then I made these 2 little metal tab pieces so I could drill a hole in either one, and then we can put this piece basically through this, just like that basically, and we'll be able to, you know, use a nut on either side so it holds it in, and we'll just get the height, like the depth right, so then this just sticks right out where the bumper would go, and then obviously this round piece will go into the bumper, so then it'll just clip right on wherever the bumper is. So that's the plan. That'll be next time. I'm gonna wait for the bumper to harden a little bit more before I start really like flexing things and drilling things, and it's gonna be a little difficult to figure out where exactly I need to drill a hole on that bumper, so that's gonna be another day. So that's gonna be it for today. So next time we'll start doing the body filler on the front bumper. Probably right before we do that, we'll get those quick release clips mounted in their exact spot, along with putting the actual rod piece into that little brace that I made on the headlight support. So until next time, don't forget to hit subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. See ya.